Here are the top stories for today, March 31, 2022. The Commission on Election removes over 7 million voters from the official voters list for the May polls due to various reasons. The Justice Department directs the NBI to go after those involved in vote buying through spot checks and campaign activities, as it cracks down on the practice amid the elections. An expert calls on the government to offer incentives to those who will get booster jabs as the country continues to beef up its defense against COVID-19 through more vaccinations. And patching things up, pole vaulter Obiena gets the endorsement of his federation for the SEA Games and other events following the success of their mediation. Good day, I am Stephanie Savillano. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Over 7 million voters have been removed from the voters list of the 2022 polls. The Commission on Elections revealed this data in a press briefing this morning. Commissioner George Erwin Garcia said those who failed to vote in 2 consecutive elections topped the list of deactivated voters at over 7.2 million. The number also includes more than 2,700 voters who were also removed due to insanity, as certified by authorities and experts, and close to 4,000 voters were also removed based on court orders. Some 536 voters, meanwhile, were sentenced to more than 1 year in jail, while over 755,000 voters have already died. The number of deceased voters includes those who succumbed to COVID-19, and their deaths were already reported by the civil registry to the COMELEC. The Justice Department is giving preferential attention to the campaign against vote buying as the elections near. In a laging handa briefing, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said he has directed the National Bureau of Investigation to look into allegations of vote buying. NBI agents can also see for themselves in the field whether these allegations have a basis. Guevara said the National Prosecution Service will investigate vote buying incidents. Other agencies under the DOJ are also tasked to assist in the filing of complaints, such as the Public Attorney's Office and the DOJ Action Centers. Malacanang says President Rodrigo Duterte's endorsement of any candidate will be a game changer. This as the public awaits who among the presidential bets will get his endorsement. Acting presidential spokesperson Martin Andanal said he is also waiting for the president's pick. This after the Duterte-led Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan o PDP Laban faction expressed support for the candidacy of former Senator Bongbong Marcos. In its March 21 resolution, the PDP Laban said the decision to endorse Marcos was made after a careful and exhaustive deliberations of its National Executive Committee. Andanal earlier confirmed that Duterte and Marcos had a cordial and productive meeting a day before the PDP Laban openly endorsed Marcos' candidacy. COMELEC Commissioner Amy Ferolino has named as the chairperson of the Task Force Contra Bigay, an interagency body that will tackle vote buying complaints. Prior to her appointment in the poll body, Ferolino served as Davao del Norte Provincial Election Supervisor. COMELEC Commissioner George Erwin Garcia vouched for Ferolino, noting her vast experience in the field. Garcia said that once the task force has been activated, vote buying complaints can be filed at the COMELEC's law department or in any local COMELEC offices. Aside from the COMELEC, the task force is composed of the Department of Justice, Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission, Department of the Interior Local Government, Philippine Information Agency, National Bureau of Investigation, Philippine National Police, and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Security measures will be strictly implemented in Cebu, Zamboanga, and the Davao region for the upcoming national and local elections. The details from Wilnard Basilonia.
In Cebu City, the local police assured that no narco money will circulate during the May 9 national and local elections. This after the City Drug Enforcement Unit seized about 5.12 kilos of illegal drugs worth 35 million pesos. Police Deputy Director for Operations Lieutenant Colonel Wilbert Parilla says they do not have information yet that the proceeds of the illegal drug trade will be used during the campaign. In Davao Region, over 60 political candidates have applied for personal protection from the Philippine National Police for the May 9 local and national elections. Records from the Police Regional Office show that 8 municipalities are identified as election areas of concern. These are Santa Cruz, Matanao, Magsaysay, Malalag, Hagonoy, and Parada in Davao del Sur, as well as Moncayo, Davao de Oro, and New Corella in Davao del Norte. Police Regional Director Brigadier General Benjamin Silo Jr. said the applications have already been forwarded to the PNP headquarters in Quezon City. And in Zamboanga, an isolation voting place will be set up for those who will manifest symptoms of COVID-19. COMELEC 1st District Election Officer Stephen Roy Cañeres said that isolated voting is a mitigating tool to prevent the spread of infection during elections. He said the COMELEC, in partnership with the DOH and the City Health Office, will first screen the voters before they will be allowed to enter the polling precinct. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Wilnard Bacelonia.
The processing of applications for registration and renewal of firearms licenses continues despite the election gone ban. Firearms and Explosive Office or FEO Chief Brigadier General Alden Delvo, however, says the release of permits for firearms will be made once the gun ban ends. To make the application process easier, FEO has adopted a new online system to make it user-friendly, accessible, and secure. Simply log on to www.feosystem.com, proceed to the one-stop shop or the regional civil security unit, and upload the required documents. Applicants may then proceed for the neuropsychiatric test or drug testing. Applications that will pass screening will be endorsed to the FEO chief for final approval. Under the new system, the applications can be completed in less than a day, provided all the requirements are valid and complete. Dr. Ted Herbosa of the National Task Force Against COVID-19 says pushing for an incentivized vaccination program is a good strategy to ramp up the COVID-19 vaccination drive in the country. Herbosa also reminds the public to continue adhering to the public minimum health standards, even if the vaccination coverage is increasing.
Parang nung nag-alert level 3 tayo, pinigilan natin sumakay sa public transport yung walang vaccination. Madami nagpapakuna nun actually. So maganda yung may mga ganong pamamaraan na ma-incentivize ang ating mamamayan to get their vaccine. So sana tuloy-tuloy nating maabot yung ina-attain natin almost 80% na mabakunahan para lalong makapagpaluwag pa tayo ng iba't ibang restrictions sa COVID-19.
Still ahead, the Agriculture Department says there will be no sacred cows in its crackdown on smuggling. And new number coding system and modified work hours, we find out what other options are on the table to resolve traffic. We're back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Commander Dieter Ocampo po ng Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary para sa kumpanyang Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Bakit natin kailangan magpabakuna laban sa COVID-19? Dahil mahal mo ang iyong sarili, pamilya at bayan. Ang bakuna ang tiyak na paraan para tuluyang mapigilan ang pagkalat ng virus. May mga patunay na mababa ang porsyento ng pagkalat ng COVID-19 sa mga nabakunahan na. At matapos mabakunahan, malaki na ang tsansa na makabalik ka sa normal mong pamumuhay. Kaya tulad ko magparehistro na at magpabakuna na kontra COVID-19. Muli po, ako si Commander Dieter Ocampo, Disiplina Muna Ambassador. Nagpapaalala, huwag matakot magpabakuna dahil bida ang may disiplina. Magparehistro tayo at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
Agriculture Secretary William Dar wants charges filed against high-profile personalities and even personnel from his agency who are allegedly involved in technical smuggling of agricultural products. Dar said smugglers usually get away with their crime by passing through legal channels using technical smuggling schemes like misdeclaration, undervaluation, or misclassification. Dar said they are continuously gathering information and investigating to thoroughly identify those officials who are involved and in connivance. The DA also pointed out the need to further digitize their import and customs operation in collaboration with the Bureau of Customs to reduce chances to commit misvaluation. Meanwhile, Dar said farmers and cooperatives could save on transportation costs by selling their products through DA's Kadiwa rolling stores. This came after several agricultural groups disclosed that they have lost 2.5 million pesos in daily production of carrots alone due to smuggling. A party-list lawmaker wants charges filed against big-time government personalities allegedly involved in agricultural smuggling. Pagsasaka party-list Representative Ardel Cabatbat said the Department of Agriculture should look into the smuggling problem, particularly the involvement of officials from the Bureau of Plant Industry. Cabatbat has already filed a resolution calling for a congressional inquiry on the implementation of border inspection and food safety regulations. The resolution also seeks to look at the government's capacity to curb the smuggling of imported vegetables and other agricultural commodities. During a Senate hearing on Monday, DA Assistant Secretary Federico Lasista Jr. confirmed that several high-profile personalities have called him to accommodate technical smuggling. DA Secretary William Dar condemned the unnamed high-ranking personalities and the illegal entry of some vegetable products. President Rodrigo Duterte says it is prudent to keep classes suspended in areas within Taal Volcano's 7-kilometer danger zone. Taal Volcano is currently under the Alert Level 3 status after its pre-magnetic eruption on Saturday. The details from Marita Muahe.
Classes have been suspended in at least 19 schools in Batangas as the Department of Education wants to ensure the safety of the students. In a pre-recorded talk to the people, President Rodrigo Duterte said he agreed with Education Secretary Leonor Briones, noting that communities affected by the crisis must immediately get back to normalcy first. Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario, meanwhile, reports that some 1,123 temporary shelters and housing units are on standby in case Taal Volcano's alert status escalates to level 4. He said that the newly built evacuation centers are disaster resilient with enough facilities for both men and women. President Duterte said that he wants to personally visit the evacuation centers in Batangas to see if he could provide additional assistance to evacuees.
Yung evacuation center mo, Ed, pati yung sa iyo, yung sa DPWH na gusto ko tignan. At I may have something assistance rin, added assistance to sa inyo. Pero gusto kong tignan. But basically, gusto kong mangyari is this, that the comfort room for women must be entirely separated from, magkaiba yung, irrespective of, we do not have the luxury of giving everybody what they want. But I want that itong mga banyo ng babae pati lalaki as entirely, and there must be a good structure na at marami.
For its part, the Office of Civil Defense or OCD says no disruption has so far been reported in critical lifelines and facilities in the area. OCD Assistant Secretary Bernardo Rafaelito Alejandro IV says the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council of Batangas has supervised the preemptive evacuations. They have also distributed food packs and extended transportation assistance for evacuation and response operations. The Labor Department is also readying its funds to provide emergency employment to those affected by the Taal Volcano's unrest. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III says the department has allotted up to 100 million pesos for the residents of Agoncillo, Laurel, San Luis, Taal, Calaca, Calatagan, and Lemery in Batangas. He says affected residents will be employed for 10 days and will be provided with income based on the minimum wage in the region.
Ang immediate response ng DOLE ay yung bibigyan sila ng trabaho for 10 days and then give them a salary based on a minimum wage on that region. Ang minimum wage sa region 4 is 400 a day. So they will work for 10 days. We will give them 4,000 for 10 days work. Yun po ang aming maibibigay agad. Ngayon, hopefully, tama yung estimate ni Sekretarya nyo na hindi na dadami pa. Pero we are prepared just in case dadami pa mga affected dito sa pag-alboruto ni Taal. We are prepared and I've instructed our finance officer to make ready and available 50 to 100 million kung sakaling kailangan tulungan yung ating mga kababayan dyan.
Farmers and fisher folks in Batangas are also provided with relief aid from the Department of Agriculture. The DA has allocated 7 million pesos worth of relief for 1,561 farmers and fishermen in the province. The aid includes inbred seeds, glutinous corn, a variety of vegetable seeds, and 1.5 million tilapia fingerlings. However, in case a disruptive eruption occurs, the DA said it can allot up to 200 million pesos additional relief from the department's Quick Response Fund. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muaje.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority has proposed several new traffic schemes as well as modifications to government work hours to help ease vehicular traffic in Metro Manila. Among the proposals are changes to the existing number coding scheme, which may reduce the volume of traffic by 40 to 50%. MMDA Chair Romando Altes also proposed the changing of the work hours of government offices from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. from the usual 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Other proposals are two different forms of a 4-day work week, namely 10 hours of work per day, 4 days a week, or working for 8-hour days at the office and 1 day of work from home per week. Alte meanwhile said the MMDA is planning to expand its no-contact apprehensions, such as having more closed-circuit television cameras on major roads and mabuhay lanes, and body cameras on traffic enforcers. This will reduce corruption and delays in traffic caused by regular apprehensions. The national government is set to begin the construction of 3 climate-resilient bridges in Metro Manila. The construction of the Marcos Highway St. Mary Avenue Bridge, Homeowners Drive A Bonifacio Bridge, and the Kabayani Street Matandang Balara Bridge will start in the first half of this year and are due for completion in 2026. They were designed to decongest Metro Manila's traffic-heavy areas and create more jobs. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III said a key design feature is their ability to absorb strong earthquake shocks and reduce flood risks. He has thanked the Asian Development Bank for funding the construction of the 3 bridges. ADB Managing Director General Wu Chang-un described the project as a milestone for the Philippines Build program. He expressed the need to continue investments to infrastructure to secure strong economic development in 2022. More stories from the newsroom. A palace official cites the need for the country to fully shift to digital television. And it's a good wrap for the mediation of EJ Obiena and his federation. Things turn sweet as the two sides patch things up, ending a bitter row. Details ahead, stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Kung customer ka, pupuntahan mo ba yung mukhang safe naman o yung certified na safe? Ang safety seal ay patunay na certified safe ang iyong business dahil nasusunod ang minimum public health standards. Meron din itong QR code para mapadali ang contact tracing. Ito ay libre lang. Pero, kailangang i-renew every 6 months or every year kung nasa tourism sector ang iyong business. Kung meron ka ng mga documents na ito, pwede ka na mag-apply para sa Safety Seal Certification. May iba-ibang office para sa iba't ibang klase ng mga negosyo. Pag na-determine nyo na ang issuing authority, simple lang ang steps para makuha ang safety seal. Pumunta sa office ng issuing authority o sa kanilang website. Kumuha ng safety seal checklist at magsagawa ng self-assessment para sa iyong business. I-submit ang checklist at abangan ang inspection schedule. Pag na-approve ang application, bibigyan kayo ng safety seal sticker. Pag hindi naman na-approve, sasabihin kung anong health standard ang hindi nasunod at bibigyan kayo ng pagkakataong ayusin ito. Pag nakuha na ang safety seal, ipaskil ito sa may entrance para makita agad ng mga customer. Pwede nyo rin ipagmalaki na certified safe kayo sa inyong mga social media pages. Paalala lamang, ang isang safety seal ay para sa isang branch lang. Siguraduhin bawat branch mo ay certified safe. Siguraduhin din na nasusunod palagi ang minimum public health standards dahil baka mabawi ang iyong certification. Maaring mag-operate kahit na walang safety seal. Pero hindi ba mas mahalagang kampante ang mga customer sa loob ng iyong negosyo? Kaya kumuha na ng safety seal para ingat-angat tayong lahat.
Acting presidential spokesperson Martin Andanaro on Wednesday cited the country's need to shift to digital television by 2023. In a palace press briefing, he said the switch is essential as the Philippines is already lagging behind its neighboring countries in terms of transmission technology. Should this measure succeed, Andanaro hopes government media could eventually introduce emergency broadcasting similar to that of Japan's public broadcaster NHK. Meanwhile, Andanaro cited the Department of Information and Communications Technology as the lead agency in charge of digitization efforts. The Japan International Cooperation Agency has assigned an expert to the National Telecommunication Commission to help local experts in planning and implementing digital TV and related government projects. The Philippines and Japan tied up in 2018 to digitize state-run PTV4 in a ceremonial switch on, migrating from being analog to fully digital. A medical team deployed by the Department of Health in the Bicol region is now in Dinagat Island to help those badly hit by the Typhoon Odette. The 34-member team from the Bicol Medical Center is composed of physicians, nurses, and allied personnel. The volunteer personnel were deployed in the island's Basilisa Temporary Field Referral Health Facility. They will provide free hospital and medical care to the victims of Typhoon Odette, while the repairs of Dinagat Island's health facilities are still ongoing. The DOH has committed to shoulder their food and accommodation. The team will stay on Dinagat Island until April 24. In sports, the Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association or PATAFA and world rank pole vaulter Obiena have finally settled the differences. In a statement, the Philippine Sports Commission said the two parties reached a settlement in the mediation process officiated by PSC Chairperson Butch Ramirez on Wednesday. As part of the settlement, PATAFA finally agreed to endorse Obiena for their Southeast Asian Games and the World Outdoor Athletics. Ramirez, Obiena, and PATAFA President Popoy Wico also met privately after the mediation session. The PSC said Obiena apologized to PATAFA and both parties vowed to forgive and start anew. Earlier in the day, the Philippine Olympic Committee deferred the 90-day suspension of PATAFA during its General Assembly held at the Knight Templar Hotel in Tagaytay. The Ligan City Police and their partners held an outreach program in Barangay Rogongon where residents availed of government services that are out of reach for them. Arafia Kiram has the story.
Residents from the hinterland village of Rogongon in Iligan City have benefited from the community outreach program led by the Iligan City Police Office or ICPO in partnership with other government agencies. The said program was conducted in support of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict.
Actually, kini atong community outreach program is part of the whole of the nation approach. Usa kini ka bulahaton nga nakasangon sa atua is a part of the government agencies nga gisaungan ining ato ang Executive Order number 70 sa NTF-ELCAC.
During the outreach program, the Department of Interior and Local Government provided 20 sacks of rice, and the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority gave 50 packs of assorted grocery items. The Philippine Army, Special Action Force, and the ICPO provided free haircut services and free circumcision to the children. The CPO also taught children how to read and write through their mobile library. The City Health Office conducted dental and medical mission, and the residents were also vaccinated against COVID-19.
Kami magpasalamaton nga naay niining sama niining serbisyo sa atong local government, labi na sa atong mga kapulisan. Dako kay katawag namo, labi na niining pandemya nga hastang kalisod sa mga katawhan.
Private organizations also provided support during the program. The children received school supplies and toys from JCI Iligan, snacks and sleepers from Metro Iligan Eagles Club, milk tea and water from the Rotary Club of Iligan South. For the PNA Newsroom, Arafia Kiram of PIA Iligan City and Lanao del Norte.
Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. The Commission on Election removes over 7 million voters from the official voters list for the May polls due to various reasons. The Justice Department directs the NBI to go after those involved in vote buying through spot checks and campaign activities, as it cracks down on the practice amid the elections. An expert calls on the government to offer incentives to those who will get booster jabs as the country continues to beef up its defense against COVID-19 through more vaccinations. And patching things up, pole vaulter EJ Obiena gets the endorsement of his federation for the SEA Games and other events following the success of their mediation. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear face masks, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that inspire change. I am Stephanie Sevillano. Good day.